Roll camera.
I decided to take a trip up to Stirling to visit Stirling Albion Football Club. They're a club owned by the fans and run by the fans. It is a unique club in Scotland, and I decided to take a look for myself how the club is run. Can you explain your role in the club and how the club is run?
Club is run, that's quite an interesting one. My role is I'm a director of the club and I'm the spokesperson. My role is mostly to do with the communications, the commercial side of things, and tying all those things together to try and take the club go forward. So that's mostly what I do.
You've had a number of tests in the short spell with tenure as running the fans running the club. Players have to defer their wages, weather permitting, because you've not had a lot of home games. How's the club coping with that?
It's been a massive challenge to us. I mean, we literally got handed a set of keys. We made history. We've not only been the first club to actually being run by the fans, but we're also the first club ever to run under a licence agreement. So we had 30 days to come in and try and do as much as we could to learn, to also do our due diligence while we're on the job. So it was a huge challenge for starters. And then since then, as you say, it's been one thing after another. But it's a massive challenge. I mean, starting off with when we came in, we looked at all the numbers, we cut the budget, so the team get promoted from Division 2, so we're actually operating in Division 1 with a budget which is probably about £100,000 less than anybody else in the league. And that's not been helped with things, as you say, about the fixtures. Nobody could have said our business plan couldn't stand up to 3 months without football. No business in the world can survive with 3 months without anything coming in. But we've rallied, we were pretty robust. We've been really tight and mean with the money we're spending out. Biggest overhead you have is wages. And as you know, the players stepped up to the plate and said, look, we'll help out. If there's no games in February, don't pay us. So it's been a challenge, but it's exciting.
There's also, since you've came along the last few weeks, you've had to bring in a new manager. How was that process for you?
Like anything in businesses and life, change is difficult, and it was probably the biggest decision that the club's been involved in, apart from the takeover. We really thought John and Rocky were great guys, lovely people, very helpful to us when we came in at first, not knowing our way around the football club. But they felt and we felt together collectively the results hadn't really gone the way that they wanted. Some of its circumstances was really difficult too, but with the amount of debt that we've still got outstanding to the council and the people we've got to pay back, it was essential we gave ourselves the best possible chance to stay in the league. And with two kind of legendary people in the shape of Jockey Scott and John Blackley, I think we've really got a good chance of doing that.
Do you feel the club might have been promoted a season too early for yourselves?
Yeah, I think the previous occasion Stirling had been promoted. They come up and were a bit more solid than what we were this time. It really was skin of the teeth. It was goal difference that we got up on. With a late run of games, they were out of the picture for quite some time. So great resilience to do that. But the difficulty was the club was in transition. The club was in financial peril. And when we arrived here, we were weeks and weeks behind everybody else in terms of sales. When we came in, we had only 6 signed players. And then out of those 6 signed players, 2 of them have subsequently gone because the managers didn't think they were good enough to be signed by the previous regime. So we were up against it before we even started. And then if you factor in cutting the budget, because it was essential for us not to make losses, it was tough. And it is tough. But, maybe, the guys might turn it around.
What are Stirling Albion's future ambitions?
I think those ambitions are modest. I mentioned, I think, to you earlier that we are the 3rd worst supported club in Scotland. Now that's a league table based on the size of the population and what your average attendance is. On average, every home game this time we've put on our home support, put on between 120 and 130 extra people through our initiatives, like we had kids go for £1 on Saturday, we've had students go free, we've had Prudential staff who are our sponsors, they go free. So we're out there trialling the brand. Our ambition is to try and get 1,500 people into a stadium on a regular basis. That's a huge, difficult task because of how long it's taken to get into that driving seat, and given all the other kind of activities that people do. So that's the ambition. It's more about building the club, building a brand, making it part of the community, making people want to be associated with it. The on-field stuff, if there's an SPL2, that would be a nice place for us. We'll always be the bottom quartile, I suspect, until the fan base is bigger. But there's no reason, given the population base, that we can't grow this club into a significant player.
You have only been here a short time, Jockey. How has it been?
I've been here 2 weeks now, and from the football side of it, nothing changes. Obviously, from the running of the club side of it, then there is wee bits of difference where the supporters, executive committee are running the club on behalf of the other supporters, and it's possibly the first time I've come into a club where I'm being asked how this works and how that should work, or what my opinion is on how they work. Before, I've always been told how the club works and how, this is the way we do it and that's the way we do it. So from that point of view, it is, a little bit different.
Or do you feel added responsibility on your shoulders because the supporters own the club?
No, not at all. No, it's, any manager going into a club and working for a club, then the responsibility is that you depending on what level you're working at, whether you're working at a team who's top of the league, then your responsibility is to do everything you can to get the team promoted or to win the league. If you're talking about the bottom of the league, which unfortunately we are at the moment, then the responsibility is to get them away from that area and to make sure that we stay up at the end of the season.
Out of your short space of time, do you think more clubs should be fan run, especially than maybe your lower league teams, or have you not got an opinion of it yet?
Well, I don't have an opinion of it yet, to be honest. As I say, I've only been here 2 weeks, and there are a lot of clubs who are well run by either the committees or by board of directors, and especially lower league clubs, because they don't get great income through the turnstiles, so they have to generate money somewhere to enable them to continue playing in the leagues they're playing in. So a lot of credit goes to these people who run these clubs. But it will be interesting for a lot of the clubs to see how the Stirling Albion concept turns out.
And just now I've got you here and I've seen that you're in the last programme, picture with you and Pelly. How was that? Was that an extraordinary moment, or was it just another football match?
Well, that was, to be honest, that was I think the third game that we had played against each other. A great experience. It's great to say you've been on the same field as who I thought was the best player in the world at that particular time, and before that. But it was a great experience, and fortunately in one of the games, the home game, we beat them 1-0, and I scored the goal, so it was great to have a wee smile as I'm walking by him at the end of the game.
How's team morale just now with the team not playing so well?
Yeah, it's fun enough, it's good, but as you say, it all comes from winning games, and the league table doesn't lie, but we're in a situation now where we're coming to nitty-gritty stuff for the season, so it's up to all the boys in there. I say we stick together. We've got a good dressing room, so hopefully if we can get get a good result Saturday and hopefully kick on for there until the end of the season.
And finally, do the players feel any extra responsibility since the club is run by the fans?
I would say maybe a wee bit. I mean, we're doing our bit this month. We're not taking any wages of that, but it's a good club. It's a good club to be at, and the boys realise that we've got a good chance here. It's a good setup. Everything's run at the best of ability. So it's a good place to be in. All the boys in there are doing all they can to make sure that we're still here next year.
And do you feel it's a good thing for Stirling Albion to be run by the fans?
I think it's a very idealistic structure they've got here at Stirling Albion. I think every fan in the world would love to say that they own a part of the club that they support. Of course, there's going to be problems with that, and we've seen that recently at Stirling. They've been struggling financially due to the number of postponements over the winter, and where other clubs can call upon their investors or their shareholders to bail them out, that's simply not an option for Stirling, and that's not an option for Stirling, and they have to call upon the fans to help them out a little bit. But I think given the economic climate of Scottish football at the moment, you've got to praise Stirling Albion for taking a bit of a leap in this, and given the fact that Dundee, Gretna, Livingston have all gone into administration and numerous clubs are teetering on the brink of administration, they'll be studying this model very closely to see if it's a viable option for them and to see if it works.
And do you believe it will work?
I think it will work. I'm not sure. I think the structure will work this season. Obviously, that has very minimal bearing on whether they'll stay up in the First Division this season, and I think that will have a big bearing on where Stirling Albion's next move is. I think their long-term aim is to establish themselves as a First Division club, and I think with the structure they've got in place, and it's very unique. I think they can do that.